Some faces, all right. Good morning, welcome. Welcome. Good to see you all. And welcome to Mission Community Church's first Sunday gathering. It's pretty exciting. All right, you made it. So we've had lots of updates and they just keep on rolling. So I'll give you some more this morning before we get started. We are officially on the internet. So we do have a website and that is up, and that will continue to have not just events, which is really one of the most helpful things. There's a calendar on there with events, with details of where and when we're meeting. But that website is missioncommunityav.com. missioncommunityav.com. So you can check that out, and hopefully we'll keep updating that, and we're thankful that that's even off and rolling. We're also on Facebook, we're on Instagram, so you can find us there. I at least know for Facebook, the page is Mission Community Church AV, and then there's a group, a private group, which we can be a part of, and we can post, and only we can see, and that's Mission Community AV. So you can check that out. On YouTube as well, Mission Community Church of AV. So thank you, Mark. So that is, it keeps moving along. So we're thankful to have these things available. Next weekend, I'll say this right now, next weekend, as you know, is Easter. So that's exciting. We have a couple things there. On Friday, leading into Easter, that's Good Friday, the 15th, we will be having a Good Friday service here at 6 o'clock, 6 p.m. here, and it will be a normal service. We'll continue and we'll look at the gospel, specifically as we find it next in Colossians 1, which will be exciting. I'm looking forward to that. And then we'll have communion together, remembering our Lord's death as he has commanded us to do that. So looking forward to that time with you all. And then follow that up with Sunday, as we know, Easter Sunday, meeting here at 10 o'clock. No children's, no youth meeting at 9 on Easter Sunday, just everyone here at 10. And then we will have our continued working through even Colossians 1, seeing the beauty and the glory of the resurrected Christ. And then we will follow that up with some food and some activities. So that's going to be a good time next weekend on Easter Sunday. Today we're going to sing some praises to the Lord, resume our study of Colossians 1, and then after our service we're going to have a Q&A. So maybe you didn't know that was coming, but we kind of squeezed that in there this week. We'll have another Q&A. We just want to keep you updated as best we can, continue to be open as best as we can, and give you the option and the opportunity to know more that you ought to know. And so we want to help with that. So that's gonna happen right after the service. Of course, if you need a moment to stand up or whatever, or go get something after that, that's totally fine, but we're just going to move right into it after we do our last song, okay? So thank you so much. At this time, I'll hand it over to our musical service. Praise God. We're going to go into the Q&A time now, as I had mentioned. But if you need to stand up or you need to grab something or attend to something, we totally get it. That's fine. If you need to leave, that's fine too. But just wanted to let you know we're moving into this and you have some freedom. I know you've been sitting for a little bit. So at this time, I'm going to have Dale Hobart come up, Brad Neal, and Chris Kostick come join me up here. And so this will be a way to start our Q&A to give you some updates on other things that have been happening. So the last time we did a Q&A, you saw a group of people up here, and now this group's a little different. And so we had a group of just faithful people that were meeting, that were a part of facilitating and organizing as they made it very clear. And basically we're just faithful in that, in getting this to where it is now today. And so now we have a little more structure in place. Granted, what I would like to emphasize is this is really a temporary structure. This is a temporary structure, and so what we have now are two teams that have basically formed. A shepherd team and then a launch team. And so the shepherd team, as you can imagine, kind of sounds like that term from the Bible that we know as elder and that we know as shepherd and pastor, all interchangeable. But the concept here is a shepherd team of myself and these three men to care spiritually for your souls and to try to take that upon us and to do it in a plurality. These are biblical, obvious principles that we see, and so we want to try and honor that. At the same time, we recognize that the idea of appointing elders is something that we want to take before the Lord, and we want to make sure that we do that with wisdom and with humility and waiting upon him. The Bible tells us not to be hasty in laying hands on someone and appointing someone to that role, and so this is something that is temporary and in place. These are men, though, that I think are competent with the word and men of character. I think you'll all agree to that. And so they're in place right now for us to do our best to shepherd and care for all of you in this time as we move forward. the launch team is a bigger team. And that's just basically compiled of a group of many of you who are already serving in some capacity or another, and you just kind of jump to it and you just did it, and that's awesome. And so we're just trying to bring some organization to that. So I meet with the launch team as well, and some of them just to hear what's happening, to hear of any obstacles, any opportunities, things that we can be mindful of, as well as just trying to keep our sights set on Christ while we go through this phase. So if you're interested at all, or you have other ideas, because many of you do, continue to bring them. That's totally fine. We don't want to shut it down and say teams are closed, and tryouts have stopped or something like that. That's not it. So that's happening. Many of you have great ideas and wonderful ways to serve, and so please, keep doing that. We really do appreciate that. So for now, though, this is the shepherding team, and so this is who we got here, and we'll be the ones trying to care for you spiritually, as I mentioned, as well as do our best to let you know in humility and transparency the things that we have no idea what we're doing, and the things that we know a little bit of what we're doing. So on actual specifics of some of the details of organization and leadership, there's a little bit we do know, and that is that we are in the process of actually becoming more official and becoming more legal. And in order to do that, we need to be incorporated. And so that process is in motion, just so you know. That's one update we can give you, that is going, that is happening. And once we actually get incorporated, which we're hoping is not longer than 90 days, but it could be, if and when that takes place, then we'll be able to do certain other things, like actually have a bank account in our name, so it's not just cash that you're giving, but it can be an actual check. And so we just don't have that yet until we actually are officially incorporated. That will also allow us to get things like an insurance policy, so we can actually look more seriously into renting other facilities, which I'm sure would be really nice to do as quickly as possible before it gets really hot. So those are some updates as far as where that lies. We're still going to pursue the whole nonprofit status. That is going to take longer, though. That's just going to take time, and that's okay though, because that's kind of how it normally goes, and we can at least move forward on some other big things before we're officially granted that nonprofit status. All right, so those are some updates. I'll ask these guys if they got anything else that's worth sharing before we hand it over to you and any other questions you might have.
One of the other things that we're starting to look at is we need to have bylaws, church constitution, doctrinal statement, things like that. So some of our homework has been looking at other churches, their websites, their doctrinal statements, and all of the things that go along with becoming a church legally. And so those are some of the things we're working on as well. Anyone have anything?
All right, over to you all. Questions you have for us at this time?
Are you getting paid good?
Yes, I'm being well taken care of. Thank you, Jill. Yeah, the question was, am I being paid? And yes, that has happened. There's been a group of men that got together and worked out some of those details. And so, yeah, thank you so much. Praise God.
When we pay cash and we put it in the envelope, will that go on our statement?
Yeah, we're actually keeping track of all that, and so then you will be able to get that back. Exactly. Yeah, once we become a nonprofit officially, but it's not like we have to wait until that status and then we can keep track. We can actually keep track now, which is good.
Cody, well, actually, it's Mark. I have people texting asking if they can watch it live, or when we think we're going to be able to watch it live. Do we have any idea?
If and when we go live, everyone will know.
Oh, that's a great answer. I'll tell them.
It's not a secret, but since you brought it up, can I say something?
You should say something, yeah.
I need help.
We've been saying that for years.
If anybody is comfortable with a camera or editing, video, anything like that, I'd love to have you come on my media team. I just called it a media team.
Off it goes.
So,
Are you willing to train?
what's that?
Are you willing to train?
To train?
Yeah.
I can train. But if you have something to start with, that'd be great. I figure in a body this size, there's got to be people that are comfortable with cameras and computers. So, contact me, let me know, and we can work together.
Thanks, Mark.
Thank you, Steve. Beautiful.
Broke the ice.
Long time listener, first time caller. That's radio for you. Have you guys talked about more of like elder, like term limits, or how that's going to work as far as like the structure of organization?
The question is, have we talked about elder specifics, elder term limits, and how the outworking will look? Officially, no. I mean, we know that is high on the list. I think we would all agree to that. And so we know that in place, like Dale was saying, we just need the doctrinal statement in place. From there, we know that's how you build off your doctrine, and then how are you going to do it? So the Bible does say elders and deacons. Okay, now how's that going to look? So we have not officially engaged in that just yet.
Baby steps.
So the giving that's being done right now, and I know there's a need for that, but besides salary, what else is that money going to?
The other mic works as well, guys.
So the question for those in the way back is, what else are we using the money that's being given for besides Cody's salary? So right now, there is cost to incorporate, so using monies for those kind of things. Eventually there will be cost for facilities and renting to be able to do that, so it'll be applied to that. And then we're still seeing what else we may want to provide as part of the church that we have funds to do. But first and foremost, right now, we're trying to get enough built up that we can cover salary comfortably, and then we'll start to expand from there. Yes?
Salary includes retirement, insurance, and stuff, or?
Yes, so most of you have been at Valley for a long time, and so the way we're approaching this is very similar. Currently, we have based the salary schedule on the AVC college schedule, which is, we see teaching as teaching in that regard, and so we have set that. That is broken up into salary and then into retirement. So yes, we are continuing to provide for a retirement plan. Cody's still carrying his from previous, so he can continue to contribute to that. Insurance is being covered out of salary right now, but that's another thing that we're investigating, is whether there is a better way for us to do that as an organization for Cody. But that's part of kind of launch team work that's going on right now.
And thank you for that. That was great. I appreciate that. Also, as we start developing, and clearly we are, to a size that needs more, I would say, leaders or deacons in certain areas, like a children's ministry person overseeing the whole thing, or a music ministry person overseeing the whole thing. Are we moving that direction and establishing that kind of leadership responsibility?
I'd say that has begun in some senses. Part of the obvious, way that it's happened is people out here among you have just said, "Hey, I'll take care of kiddos. I'll take care of little ones. I'll take care of big kids, and all that." So that's kind of been off and rolling in, and we haven't seen any massive concern with that. So we're kind of excited to say green light, go. But yeah, as far as some structure that will need to be in place, that we recognize that as well. I think there's been some movement. I don't know if
Part of the launch team.
definitely that's a big part of what the launch team is doing, where there's a media team, and there's different different people there that are then represented. And for now, it might look like a few different servants together in the children's, right? The children's work. There's a few different ones over different parts, and maybe, but there's not necessarily a single person appointed over that. So we just have people working together really well and out of goodwill, which is great. But to get to a point where there's a little bit more structure is definitely the plan.
Go ahead,
Yeah.
Dave.
Has there been any outreach to missions teams that we might know?
Not formally. Yeah. So obviously relationships are still in place, and so I think that's definitely we have excitement for certain relationships that we've had. I when I was at Shepherd's Conference, I had contact with Robin Buddha, if you remember Robin and Ann. So still very much excited about the work that's happening through people that we love. So I believe that'll definitely be on the table moving forward.
Yeah, so for giving besides cash, is there a way, like, is it cash only, or can a check be written, and how's that done besides here today?
So the short answer is no, we are not doing checks right now. We can only do cash. And right now we're trying to keep it here on Sundays so that we don't have people just handing us big chunks of money, so that we can keep tabs on it and make sure that we are transparent and clear with how it's coming in and that it's accounted properly. So that's kind of where we are right now. Well, can I answer? You know, Dave, for the people that we have relationships with for missions, continue to support them in the ways that you have in the past. You know, for Daisuke, there are ways to support him organizationally. For Ann and Robin, also, you can continue to give to support them and others as well. So don't forego that. We just haven't started the official, collaboration with them yet. All right, there was somebody else with the hand.
Kenny. Church membership is the question. Are we looking into church membership and how that's going to work? Again, that's on the table. I would put it up there with the question of specifically how elders will function. Then obviously, I would say probably below that, but close also there is then what is membership going to look like? So again, not formally, not yet.
So if you look at like the constitutions and bylaws of other churches, elders, deacons, membership, a lot of that stuff shows up in those documents for other churches, and there's reasons for that. And so that Thursday, I think, was when we got our assignment. We started looking at all these documents from other churches, and so all those conversations are basically like starting, like officially. They haven't happened yet, but they've started, right? So this Thursday night will be sort of like round one, anyway.
Amen. Are we meeting every Thursday and as the four of us to talk through the things that Chris was just mentioning? Yes, that's the plan. So thank you. And she said for prayer purposes. So please, we appreciate that.
Can you tell us who's on the launch team?
Yeah, I can run through and do the best. I'm probably gonna leave someone out, and that's gonna be lame on me. But we have Tony Devoto is doing a lot of the kind of the admin and legal stuff, so he's there with that, some of the financial stuff as well. We have Nick and Becca Leopold, and as well, kind of working with Spencer and Rebecca for Hilliard for the youth. Nick and Becca, okay, great, yeah. As I say your name, raise your hand. And then Spencer already asked the question, yeah, long-time listener. And then we also have, Casey and Sarah Jensen, as well as Gabby Saragosa, and they're doing like children and nursery stuff. Brooke Barnhart is doing, if you look on the website, there's like a logo now. It's pretty cool. So Brooke Barnhart's doing some of that logo branding, kind of media stuff. Sarah Gardner is doing social media stuff, which is really great. And then Jeremy Lane has done the website for us and continues to be on it. So that's all amazing. Who'd I miss? Mark Clayson has a media team. So there you go.
Really? I need help!
And then, of course, yeah, I missed them. They weren't at the meeting, but for good cause. They were doing music stuff. But also Anthony and Sydney Ukestad are working together also with Daniel and Hannah Van Welden doing some of the college and young adult. So that's the launch team at the moment.
Who does all the printing, like for the bulletins, all that?
Right now, I think that's Casey, my brother, Casey Jensen, but I think he might share that sometimes with, I think Mike Lytle also helps sometimes.
Are you guys, like, Bible, like, training, or like Bible studies, or in groups, or something like that?
As far as I know, we have.
Repeat the question.
Are we trying to have like midweek studies, things like that? There are 3 adult studies that are, I guess college is adult as well, but there's 4. College is on Friday nights. I have a group that is meeting on Tuesday nights. Brad has a group that's meeting on Tuesday nights. And Dan Jennison has a group that's meeting on Tuesdays. Not a lot of diversity in the night of the week, so if you're not free on Tuesdays, hopefully you're in college. And that's something that we're starting to discuss as well. What do we want that to look like? And so we want to continue to try to offer Bible studies for people and provide care. So if you're interested in coming to a midweek study, please let us know, and we'd like to connect you with that. And then once again, what that's going to look like into the future, we're not exactly sure. There's honestly 100 different conversations that we need to have about what this is all going to look like and what's going to best serve all of you. So yeah, we do have those, and we're encouraging those, and those are available.
What's this? 7 o'clock for Dan.
6:30.
6:30 for Dale.
7.
7 for Brad.
There's your diversity.
College?
7:30 for now.
7:30 for now.
Because they can stay up half an hour early.
Or a lot longer. It's fine.
Where are we going to lunch?
Good question. Come back next week. We'll do lunch next week. Yeah. All right. Any other? Yeah.
What are we doing about the potluck? Are we just bringing anything? Do we have a sign up? What are we doing?
Great question. I'm not sure the perfect person. I see a hand waving over here. Do you want to say something, Kim? Yeah. All right.
Food team.
Oh, thank you, you guys. Yeah, we'll be having an Easter lunch potluck. Is Sarah Jennison out here?
Hey, Jennison.
Sarah? Oh. Well, Sarah and I have been talking, and there'll be an Easter lunch following the service next week, and we're asking anybody who'd like to bring desserts or decorated hard-boiled eggs. Everything else will be provided. It'll be a ham and turkey lunch with some sides. And if you need to know anything else, please contact Sarah or I, or maybe Sarah Gardner. Thank you.
Thank you, Kim. We appreciate that.
If anybody would like to be a part of food ministry, or like I'm trying to put together kind of a crew, along with the 2 Sarahs. So if you would like to participate in any way, just let me know, and that'll be in the process. Thanks.
Thank you so much. Right. Any other questions out there? Yeah. Ed.
So the big milestone, more or less, that you're looking for is 90 days when you can into a legal type of system. I mean, that's when a lot of stuff will be able to really be rolling, as per se, where you can get a building, where you can get checks, where you can so on and so forth. Is that how I kind of understand it?
Yeah, that's correct. Got the thumbs up from Tony back there, who's just behind you. But as far as the big milestone is, yes, hopefully within the 90 days, we'll get incorporated. And then that allows us, those very things you were just saying, to move more seriously on a building, to actually be able to have checks in the bank account, those things.
I just want to say a huge thank you to everybody who has stepped up into a voluntary leadership position, into a need-filling position working with the kids. You guys up there standing up and having these meetings and getting this rolling. Huge thank you for that, because not a lot of us have the opportunity to or the availability to. So thank you guys for that.
Amen to that. It feels like a great note to end on. If you have questions, we're obviously available too, so you can always get a hold of us in another way if you'd like. So thank you so much. Why don't I close in prayer, and we can enjoy the rest of our day. Heavenly Father, we come before you with everything that we've just even discussed now, knowing that none of it's possible unless your hand's upon it and you decide that it is what is best. And so we just want to take these specifics, God, some of them being actions that just need to be taken, and we're trying to take them in faith and asking for you to work in them and let them go smoothly. But we know that there's a greater aim and ambition that we feel in our hearts to be able to move forward with a greater commitment, a greater unity, even as a church, as we try to go about bringing the gospel to the lost and encouraging one another, edifying, building each other up, so that we're closer to you than we were even yesterday. God, help us as a church to continue to have this genuine fellowship that we've just been experiencing, God, and may we recognize the source of all of it being you. And we just pray these things in your name. Amen. Thank you, everyone.